I had been in banking since I graduated from high school. So I had a career of 31 years when I was laid off, and that layoff lasted 19 months, which was about 18 months longer than I expected it to. But fortunately, 3 weeks ago, I started a new job in banking, a little bit different from what I was doing before, but enough similarities where I can kind of dive right back in. My name is Kelley Briggs, and I'm 50 years old. I was born in Boston, but moved to Cumberland, Rhode Island when I was 18 months old and pretty much lived here my whole life. I'm married. My husband's name is Eric. I have one child. She's 19 years old, and she's in her third year of pharmacy college at Mass College of Pharmacy. My husband, unfortunately, is laid off at this point. I had gotten laid off on a Monday in February of 2009, and he came home, I think it was Thursday of the same week, and said, "Guess what?" So that was a pretty dramatic and frightening week for us, to both have gotten laid off at the same time and really not knowing if we're going to be able to continue to get the loans for my daughter's college, pay the mortgage, the rest of the bills. It was really kind of scary. Personally, I'll use the word devastating, but there's probably a better word. But I had never been without a job my whole life. Well, my whole adult life. The only time I had ever been out of work was on maternity leave. And even at that point, I had 13 weeks, and I went back on the 8th week. And I got a very, very, what I would consider, fair severance package. Normally, it's 2 weeks for every year, but it's a maximum of 52 weeks. So I was basically paid vacation with benefits for 52 weeks. So I could never complain about that. And at the time, I was convinced, I'll have a job by this time next month. I'll be getting paid double. I was really surprised, and I started to have the realization that there really aren't any jobs. Because at that, I had applied and applied and applied, but I didn't really aggressively network or anything like that. And, you read that that's important, but it's not really my forte, so I figured I'll just get my resume will speak for itself. But I could not get an interview. Part of the reason that I was told anyway was, you don't have a degree. You don't have a degree. I'm like, it's banking. You can't buy what I know. You can't get that in school because you can't go to school for 30 years. And it's not like you said before, I wasn't in a cubby. I had a very broad expertise. There were changes in the way we did things. Do you really need that? There was a lot more conscious thought for every dollar that we spent or didn't spend. When I got laid off and when my husband got laid off, we had a little bit of savings. I had some 401k from my job that I had gotten laid off from. Unfortunately, after 18 months, none of that existed anymore. So we really were to the point of, we had to make some choices about how we were going to go forward. And that's when I got the call for this job, so that was really good. I did start with online school in the criminal justice field because I was hoping maybe to go into, TSA or something like that, try to get a little beyond the financial industry. And I am still going to school for that, except it does kind of pertain to what I'm doing now because now I ended up in the risk area of a bank. So I really tried hard to get into the bank that I'm in now because I knew several people who had gone to work there and had been very satisfied. Banking pretty much is banking, but it's the culture that they develop in their organization that can really be more meaningful for their associates or employees. I was very fortunate, and I wish I could take credit for this, but yes, I put it on Monster, I put on Career Builder, Indeed, LinkedIn, whatever I could, I would get my name out there. One day, a recruiter called me from the bank that I work for now, and I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be one of these 10 jobs that I've put in for in the last couple of weeks. No, it was a completely different job that I either didn't see or they weren't advertising. I was fortunate and I did get it. The salary is like $140 a year more than what my salary was previously. However, it's not bonus eligible. There's nothing positive about being without a job and not being able to find one, no matter how well qualified you think you are or how well educated. There's nothing positive about that. But to be miserable about it and to, whine about it to every person that you come in contact with is not going to help you. And it's only going to make possible contacts think, I don't want to work with that girl. So although it's really difficult sometimes to be positive, I think it's very important to keep an upbeat approach, because people will see that and they'll see that that's what you can bring to their organization. I understand how difficult it is to get a positive spin on how you feel, but do what you need to do to stay positive. Look at things as opportunities instead of roadblocks. Really reach down into yourself and don't be afraid. Try something new if you have to. Don't just hold on to something because it's familiar. You'd be surprised what you know and what you can do when you let yourself have that opportunity. And, tomorrow's another day. It's a cliche, but it really is. You wake up and you start over. And that's the best that any of us can do, I think.